I was like, what did I say? I was like, that is an actual song that they adapted.
Just like the one from Friends. That was an actual
Yes, from the
song
Rembrandts.
as well. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We're on.
We are on.
Yeah.
It says live stream offline.
Live.
No. That was an actual song that they adapted.
Just like the one from Friends.
So everyone's yes, from the Rembrandts.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's why I mute the speakers.
That's a good call.
All right, so Nikki, this is your show. We'll just sit back and listen to you go and
this is
rock and roll.
This one's all you.
I hear the color of the bags are purple.
They are.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
I was doing a cleanup just a little while ago, painting graffiti and whatnot with a group of people.
You were painting graffiti? Or painting
I was painting over it. So
I just wanted to clarify.
So
let me just say, 3 minutes into this show, and we already had Nikki dissing you. This is just like old.
Dissing me?
I don't know if that was.
No,
that was I don't think.
You're too ready with the trigger to just go with that.
Gun happy, man.
Yeah, just cut it out. No, so we were painting over graffiti.
See, now
Hey, by the way, I did say I was doing a cleanup first, so I was doing a cleanup and painting graffiti at the same time.
Yeah.
No. So anyway,
keep the unity.
While I was doing that little thing, someone mentioned to me how much they liked the bags. They liked the bags.
They do?
But I presented a problem. Where does the bag money go and what does it pay for?
They didn't know that.
Well, there was an answer.
Oh.
First it was, we need to pay for our trash, which I've heard every single person who advocates for the bags say. So, I asked them, how much does it cost?
That's the magic question, isn't it?
And she said, well, they've been doing it for years that way. Well, I said, I would never, ever, ever take money from you if I don't tell you how much it costs.
Exactly, amen.
Come on now. Let's do this. All right, so it's her turn. We have a stranger with us today.
I know.
A visitor from another country, I'm assuming. I don't know. Where are you from, sir?
Portugal.
What's your name?
My name is João Philippe. That's French, isn't it?
What the heck is going on right now?
I'm thinking Philippe. Out of all the Portuguese names,
you dissed yourself.
Out of all the Portuguese names you could have come up with, you chose to say Philippe.
Yeah, well, Philip is Portuguese.
You started off.
I can get Portuguese.
You started off very well.
I know, and then in the middle I lost it.
Philippe.
You dissed yourself.
Sure where that went.
Yeah, it's cool.
You know, people are
Mixed
clicking in.
families, though. Hey.
People are clicking in right now.
Unity.
They're clicking in.
They're clicking into the show.
They're clicking.
They're listening.
I
know you sent the link out there.
Yeah.
Right? And they're probably coming in and they're listening to us yip yap about a whole lot of nothing right now. Nikki, you brought everyone here. You brought the millions and millions of people here. Millions of listeners that are out there in the world. They want to know
all the guys to the yard.
If you were a city councilor,
That's
Nikki.
hilarious. If I were a city councilor,
Nikki.
If I were a city councilor.
How would you handle this problem?
Well, first of all, I would handle it by asking what we're spending our money on. What are the costs? There are 3 ways that we pay for our trash, which is to collect, to haul, and to dispose of. And then there's 3 kinds of municipal solid waste that we collect, which would be solid waste, trash, recycling, and yard waste.
Yard.
So that's 3 separate MSW types and 3 ways that we pay for those 3 types of services.
MSW means?
Municipal solid waste.
Thank you. Not
which is really
social work.
Which is really what it's basically our sanitation. It's all of the trash that the city collects. Haven't I been saying this for 4 years? I had somebody say to me today, do you mean to tell me that they include the trash from the businesses?
Because you're in an echo chamber, Nikki. You are in an echo chamber. When you speak, it goes so far it bounces back to you. It's not reaching everybody out there because you decide to take a hiatus off Facebook, number 1. Number 2...
I'm saying the same thing I said 4 years ago,
I'd throw it back at you, though. But I'm just, you know me, I'm just giving you a time. But also, on top of that, people hear what they want to hear, and people are busy. People are working. People are watching reality. They're doing something.
I understand life gets in the way.
You know, life does get in the way. So it's hard. You get frustrated that you have to repeat yourself. That's why politicians consistently have their talking points that they just keep on pumping out. Right. Because it's an acknowledgement that most of your listening population is not listening, unfortunately.
And when they do listen,
they listen to fake news.
I mean, or they're just listening to what they want to hear too.
Well, make a good point with that is the number. Like I've had two separate gentlemen this week in an argument with me say, pre-pay as you throw, we collected 30,600 tons of solid waste, and I'm like, no, right. 30,600 is the number of households we currently serve. That's not even
they looked at the wrong number on the
pre-pay as you
chart.
throw number.
Yeah.
But my point is, so the fact that two separate people gave me the same number tells me there's some entity out there that's sharing that information, and it's not correct.
They're looking at the information incorrectly. I got what is it? 2016 is the most recent one, right?
2017.
So we have a 17.
Oh yeah.
All right. Did we pull up 17 last time? Did we pull up 17? Well, it's still gonna have it.
It's just
we have
it's just great.
It's 17,000.
I find it
a little over 17,000 tons.
I find it hilarious that on this computer that you have tons of stuff on, there is a folder that says PAYT.
I made that yesterday. I made that last week.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I made it last week. You want to know why? Because I have it saved, the contract for
Waste Zero.
The Waste Zero contract.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah. And I'm actually going to put all these data.
People that were quoting that last week.
I'm going to have to find 2013.
Incorrectly
as well.
I actually wonder if anybody's... Brad Kilby, if you're listening, I don't know if anybody sent you the Waste Zero contract you were asking for. If not, I could send that to you today.
So I'm going to have 2017's document up. When somebody challenged me to provide information on social media a few days back, I pulled up 2016's numbers, but it's basically the same thing. It shows a failing program.
I mean, it actually shows more of a decrease. So
yeah, exactly. It just shows a trend. Yeah,
and it's a decrease on both. We have been decreasing our solid waste since 2013. We've been decreasing our solid waste and our recycling since 2015. And
if a person wants to look at data, and I've done this a million times when it comes to sports and conversations in sports, when you look at statistics, you literally can look at what you want to look at and formulate your own argument based on the data you're looking at. So when I was in a conversation a few days ago about this data, and Nikki was there and she was making comments in it.
Nobody ever replies to me, damn it.
I think they want to challenge. I believe
it's because they know you're run. I believe that it's because you've run for office.
I've run for office, but there's another factor involved, Nikki, and we all laugh about this, but there is an element out there that believes that I don't know what I'm talking about and I get it from you.
Oh well.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that too.
At this point, I haven't really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like. At this point, I'm saying the same thing I said 4 years ago. It's not rocket science. You look right at the data. It's easy enough. Go on mass.gov.
But there is one thing that I would say. You have the people who support the government in general. They're the people that supported Sam Sutter when he came out with the fee, bag, fat tax, all that stuff at once, and wanted to bury everybody with government imposition. And then there's people that are like, hell no, we won't do anything the government tells us to group, right? So you have these two different groups going back and forth for the past few years. You can tell who's going to side with who. You can even see it on social media. Who is going to post in what position? Like as soon as I said something to Councilor Ponte on Grow Up in Fall River, you knew who the people were going to jump in. Some of them were going to be realtors. You knew that.
That's the only thing that I've noticed. Those are the only ones sticking up.
And you knew that some of them were going to be the same people that just don't care, that want the government to have everything.
The current administration.
They're going to support the bags. They were against the recall. They're going to support the payment mechanism for the school, the whole 9 yards, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to go through all of that. So the way that I look at it is, if you're looking at these stats, you're going to find what you want to find. And one thing that they've been consistent on is the people who support the bags have been very consistent on is that it makes them recycle more. Yes. Right? Mm-hmm. They say that.
It's so nauseating.
And then also, the tonnage has gone down. As a matter of fact, I believe Sean Kadim spoke about tonnage over the past week in the council meetings, correct?
Which tonnage? Recycling or
overall solid waste tonnage?
I haven't caught the meeting in its entirety. I've only caught.
And you know what? I'll retract that statement because I know I heard him speak about tonnage, but I wasn't 100% sure if he was talking about reduction of tonnage or how much it costs, the tipping fees and everything. So anyway, we'll continue on from that. The bottom line is, if you're gonna look at the data, Nikki, right? I mean, you can be the vocal on this one more than anybody. if you're going to look at the data, look at all of it.
Right.
And make sure that you're being honest about it.
Absolutely. You can't pick out a number and say, this is the number we're at without telling us how we got to that number. And that's what's lacking in when they're given the data sets. They're saying that pay-as-you-throw is the only reason for these numbers. And that couldn't be any more far from the truth, because the city as a whole has since stopped collecting construction and demolition debris. Well, how much construction and demolition debris in tonnage did the city take in? If you can't answer that question, then you can't tell me that pay-as-you-throw is the only reason our solid waste has decreased. You can't tell me that. And even at that same theory, to say that we're selling more bags or we're selling X amount of bags, but people aren't, like they're making the argument that people aren't using the bags, but the reason that our solid waste is going down is because people are using the bags. It doesn't make any sense. And then in the same breath, they'll say our recycling has gone up because of pay-as-you-throw. But then they don't mention so has our cost because of contamination.
Well, that was the point I was about to make. Is like if they want to make the argument that recycling has gone up because of pay-as-you-throw, I could say, well, okay, that may be true. However, the amount that it's cost to get rid of our recycling has also gone up because of the contaminated recycling. Now the things that are questionable of being put into trash versus recycling, they're going to go to recycling because they don't want to pay for an extra bag.
Right.
So to say that is, I'm not going to say it's disingenuous. I'm just saying that the argument may have weight to it, though, but the financial outcome of the whole thing is bad for us, because at this point it's almost worth for me to put all of my recycling into regular trash because it's going to cost less.
Exactly. That was another question that I posed. I sent a message to Brad Kilby because at one of the meetings I noticed he started asking questions about recycling, and it was such great questions because he asked how much it was costing us to get rid of it per ton, what our tipping fee was. So, and then he was interrupted. Unfortunately, he never got to finish. I think there were more questions.
How was he interrupted?
That he had.
Does he have the floor?
He did have the floor, but then they're there for so long that when they get frustrated, it's just like they sit back and when somebody is going to continue to talk all the time and they just want to end the conversation, he'll get the answer to his questions later on. Nice. So I hope, at the very least, because he started asking the questions, I hope that when the meeting was over, that he continued to ask those questions because they're important questions. It's important to know how much we're paying for our recycling. It's important to know what entities are receiving city recycling services. If we're picking up recycling from housing and it's costing us more to dispose of recycling than solid waste, but the only argument they're making is we need to have people buy bags, it doesn't make any sense. So they're saying it's okay for housing not to pay for recycling, but you have to pay for trash in order for us to recycle more. Do you get it? Like it doesn't make any sense. It bothers me because they're not asking the right questions.
There was an ordinance that you pulled up. We had a conversation about ordinance and charter yesterday. Yep. So, I was just kind of, poking around to see if there's different angles as to how how this can be looked at and whatever else. And I was thinking about the charter. Now, I was actually thinking about Liz Souza, who used to be the corporation counsel back when the bags were implemented. I remember you talked about it. We talked about it last show about how Linda Pereira and Liz Souza were in that, that very famous or infamous
Mortal Kombat scene.
Argument there. And I remember them using obviously the Board of Health and using to kind of circumvent the council in this, but they also had conversation about the charter as well, I believe. And so I was trying to poke around about the charter. I asked Mike Mioza about it. And he said that, the mayor doesn't have power of executive order to just eliminate the bags. He doesn't have there's no language in there that says he has that authority to do something like that. Which then you said that the charter doesn't really matter much into this. Right. But I don't think that JASL could go through the Board of Health to eliminate the bags.
There are two ways that pay-as-you-throw can be eliminated today. According to the Waste Zero contract, if we're going by the contract, because that's what everybody keeps going back to. We don't want to be sued. The contract. Okay, so according to the contract, the biggest way we can end pay-as-you-throw today is by eliminating the pay-as-you-throw program. In order for the city currently, and mind you, this is not me saying, because I don't believe the ordinance is legal. So this is just what, on the face of pay as you throw, what our politicians are saying. In order for them to just end the program, the city council would then have to abolish the ordinance saying that residents need to use an official city bag. I laugh every time I say it. Every time I say official city bag, it's hilarious. But anyway, so they would have to do that. Otherwise, Waste Zero could then say they still have an ordinance saying that they have to purchase bags, but they're not. They want to just get out of the contract. Do you know what I'm saying? They would have to change that ordinance. At least that's the argument that the pro-pay-as-you-throw city councilors are making. The second way is to wait for the contract to end. The mayor does not legally have to renew this contract. City council cannot force him to renew this contract. The contract was signed by Mayor Flanagan, so it's by the mayor, by Corporation Council, and a couple of other people, none of which are city councilors. So as of July 14th, 2019, our contract with Waste Zero ends. So at that point, pay-as-you-throw is over. Whether or not there's an ordinance, it doesn't need to be that way. But today, what they're saying is he cannot eliminate pay-as-you-throw simply because of the ordinance. Now, do I believe the ordinance is legal and valid and binding? Absolutely not. And Judge Macy, being the genius that our former city councilor said that he was, I'm sure could absolutely inform our city council that it's not a valid ordinance. You look at the definition, you go into our ordinance and you look at the definition of official city bag. I mean, they could try and change that now at this point, but let's face it, we've got a year till the contract. If nobody has been buying bags for 4 years, nobody's gonna buy bags. Whoever has been buying the bags will continue to buy the bags for another year. The city will love that extra revenue, right? Jays will be able to take that revenue and say, look at our wonderful surplus, maybe even put more police department on, you know what I'm saying? It's going to work in that favor, and then we're gonna end up with a transfer station anyway. Long story short. That's what it all boils down to.
The thing about the ordinance that I believe you posted up and you said, do you see something that I don't?
Yes, look at look at them.
I think I'm gonna go
They're
on
ridiculous.
your page here.
You need to look at the actual wording of of all of our ordinance is in their entirety. And let me just say, when
I just think it's funny. Can I just say something real quick?
Go ahead.
I find it funny when a city councilor goes on your wall to talk to you, and just by the surface, just on the surface, I'm looking at a photo of Pam Liberty LeBeau or a photo of Cliff Ponte or whoever. Speaking to a photo of Oscar the Grouch. And it's probably one of the funniest things that it's going through my mind as it's happening.
That.
It's really funny.
I think that's it.
It's like Pam Liberty LeBeau is on Sesame Street talking.
Like talking to Oscar.
Hi kids, this bag is the color purple. Brought to you by the color purple. All right, never mind.
Oh, that's great.
And then Prince comes out. No, never mind.
That's great.
All right.
Okay, so there's two. There's actually two.
Yeah.
There's that post and then the one. Those two.
So, anyone else see what I see? This one right here, I believe, is the one that has what I think you wanted to talk about, where it talks about the Director of Community Maintenance, correct?
Well, there's several. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The reason I said, do you see what I see? Is because I know that everybody who looks at it is going to see what they see themselves. There is more than one reason that these ordinances can't even be fought in court. That's why it's mind-boggling they continue to push this crap.
Section 62.2 amended on July 15, 2008 by ordinance number 2008-40.
And none of these ordinances were changed
when the
charter was changed.
When the charter was changed.
There was one little ordinance that was one little section of it, and that didn't have anything. It doesn't really change much.
Collection and disposal generally, except as otherwise authorized in this chapter, all refuse accumulated in the city shall be collected.
Read that carefully, please.
All refuse accumulated in the city shall be collected.
Shall be collected.
Conveyed and disposed of by the city under the supervision of the Director of Community Maintenance.
Yes, Derek?
I like that word shall.
And do you see where it says all refuse accumulated in the city shall be collected, conveyed, and disposed of.
Nikki,
by who? Who? What is
city.
It?
By this.
The city.
Nikki,
What?
if you don't buy the bags, I'm not picking up your trash.
Yeah, where does it say that?
Exactly.
That's my freaking point.
Term is shall.
Shall. Where does it say that? Where does it say that you are not going to collect my trash if I do not use a purple bag? You're telling me by ordinance that every single solitary bit of trash that gets, what does it say? That gets accumulated in the city shall be collected, conveyed, and disposed of by the city.
Under the supervision of the Director of Community Maintenance.
Not the city council.
Now. Now.
Two.
Now. No, I'm not reading it yet.
Okay.
Let's say the city council decides to change this shall part, right?
Uh-huh.
Is the Board of Health going to support the city council who wants to just leave trash on people's property if they don't buy bags?
Not if they read state law.
Interesting.
So state
Oh, state law comes into play, Derek.
And which one
Wait,
supersedes?
is this a state?
Hold on. And which one
You guys
supersedes
are all
the
wrong.
other?
You guys
Guess
are all
what?
wrong.
Guess what?
You guys are all wrong.
The city of Fall River.
It's not a state, it's a commonwealth.
If you read, well, it's not Commonwealth law. It's state law. Just saying. But anyway.
But which one supersedes what?
Oh my god, so good.
The way that Fall River wrote theirs is identical to the state's.
It has to be,
So
doesn't
wait
it?
a minute. So
Doesn't it
the
have to be?
state takes precedent.
But anyway, I digress.
Oh, okay.
So there's not going to be unless there's some significant changes to the Board of Health.
Well, you see, that's another part. A few years back, our city council took care of that. Because what's happened the last 5 years is we've had mayors and city councilors that have basically hated each other on a personal level.
No.
Really nothing to do with the nuts and
Get
bolts
outta here.
of our sanitation
I
ways.
can think of at least one.
And the thing is, how many mayors have we had?
Big time.
We had Mayor Flanagan. We had Mayor Sutter. And now we have Jazel Correa. And how many councilors have we had? Numerous, in and out, on and off, right? And the thing is, with
Kicking
each,
the can down the road.
With each one, they've come in and they've changed ordinances, and they've made this person in charge, and they've taken it away from this person, so much so that it's laughable when they try to claim that they have any authority to force landlords, to force residents to buy purple bags, when they can't even force residents to buy purple bags. I say it over and over and over again, and that's just paragraph 1.
That was just the first paragraph.
1.
So basically,
It was the first sentence.
So basically, this has been killed 7 ways to Sunday, and we still have 2 other paragraphs that need to be read, and that's going to also be killed.
And other sections.
So if you had fun with that, wait a minute.
And this is what I'm saying.
So the next one is, this chapter shall not prohibit.
What?
Shall not prohibit the actual producers of refuse or the owners of property upon which the refuse has accumulated from personally collecting, conveying, or disposing of such refuse, providing such persons comply with all provisions of this chapter.
Uh-huh.
So it doesn't matter how you generate it, it still has to get collected.
Uh-huh. And the city tells you that they have to collect it.
Yep. So far.
Unless you decide you don't want them to collect it. But as long as you, as a property owner or as a person generating that trash, choose to have the city collect your trash, they have to come collect it.
And the only way to actually stop that from happening would be just get someone else to get it.
Well, according to other laws that we have, they have to privatize.
I have a suggestion. When they do these ordinances, instead of being in their own echo chamber, you think they might want to introduce some people from the state and from the Board of Health and from everywhere else to make sure that their ordinance is lined up correctly?
Or they could just read what they're allowed to do by law and then do that.
Well, I think that's one way, but you're leaving yourself open to interpretation still. If you have a representative of that entity there to, at least for guidance purposes, to say, are we allowed to do this? Are we interpreting this correctly? Boom, boom, boom.
I would argue that if those points weren't made when making these laws. When you go and you read state law, it explicitly tells you what you can and cannot do.
And you got to remember something.
So
when we're looking at face value, when we're looking at good faith in general, let's say all three of us are city councilors for a minute here. If we're city councilors and we're trying to develop an ordinance, what is our goal? What is our goal?
To do it the right way and to do it legally so that it can be enforced.
Yeah. Represent the people, maybe, right?
That would, well, I mean...
Well, that's the whole objective to being a city councilor.
Exactly.
Is to represent
so
people,
everything should be designed under that premise, right? Thank you. Mm-hmm. So, knowing this, if we, all three of us, get together to put an ordinance together and we end up with a different goal, such as taking money from people,
right, or just a personal
funding the government rather than representing the people, then we're going to be more motivated to shift and shape this thing to be our own thing rather than what it's supposed to actually be,
without changing what the previous city council did before you.
There you go.
Just saying.
There you go.
And I've actually enjoyed it so much.
It's fun.
Because I've paid attention to each change that's been made. So when they sit there now and they're like, we have the authority, I'm like, if I were you, I'd go call into Carrera because you gave it back. Yeah, go ahead, keep reading. That's what I'm saying.
Oh man, and this is probably and I've read this before, but this is my favorite part of it. Because now we're talking about the difference between a fee and a tax and residential and this, that, and the other. The whole 9 yards. So this last paragraph here kind of defines it all. Derek, hey, look at you. Go get it. You want to read it, man?
I'll read it.
Yeah.
All right. It's my turn? Okay. The city shall...
There you go.
Collect solid waste and recyclables from single-family dwellings and multiple-family residential buildings. Remember, multi-family residential buildings. Containing up to 6 dwelling units. Solid waste shall be collected only if placed in an official city bag and placed in a green cart. Recyclables shall not be placed in green carts, and solid waste shall not be placed in blue or pink carts.
Fascinating, isn't it?
I'm going to throw this out there real quick, and then I want to have a different conversation. I got to write it down so I can remember to actually bring it up a little bit later.
So,
Yikes. First things first. The city shall collect solid waste and recyclables from single-family dwellings and multiple-family residential buildings containing up to 6 dwelling units. It's very that kind of stuck out to me, that 6 dwelling unit piece. But I want to throw out the fact that it doesn't say anything about work areas. It doesn't say anything about housing areas. It doesn't say anything about publicly owned property. It doesn't say anything about construction and debris. It doesn't say anything about anything except residential and dwellings, and only up to 6 units. So that's what the bags should only be paying for. And they're not. And that's the difference between a fee and a tax.
Just saying.
Now,
somebody wrote an opinion piece in the Herald News a few years back about tax versus fee.
I think I know that.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I did. I did. Did you?
I did.
I know I did too. I did too. We both did, I think. It was that, Melissa Panchley and I, we get along. I do get along. We have different opinions on things, but we do get along. I heard her say publicly that it was after this budgets and audits meeting, this infamous one where Rich Cabaceres was running it, and they started talking about local receipts and how you can get the bags going. And then Melissa, who I believe was still on the school committee at the time, mentioned that we need to start supporting the bags because she kind of implied that it was going to help with the school,
right?
And that's how Sean Kadim kind of implied it, and obviously that's exactly how Rich Cabaceres, great schools for our kids, all that kind of stuff. So when that happened, I felt compelled to write a letter to say your bags should only be paying for what it's supposed to be paying for, not to pay for other things, because that's going to make it a tax. And I think we're also talking about the fee, and it actually wasn't even the bags, it was the fee. It was Sam Sutter's fee, which is what I had to write down when I noticed that it said up to 6 dwellings. I have to give Sam a little credit here. He must have looked at an ordinance, not maybe Sam, but somebody in his camp, because I don't think Sam read an ordinance at all. But someone must have looked it up, because when they imposed that fee, it was only up to 6 dwellings.
Yeah.
It was only up to 6 dwellings. You could not go higher than that.
Legally, they're not supposed to collect trash for properties that have 6 or more units.
Right. But I'm just surprised that he even cared what was legally and not legally done.
Because he didn't write it.
That's what I'm thinking.
It wasn't actually him who wrote it, so.
I'm agreeing with you on that.
He had his lawyer check it out, and all they do when they go to write new ones is they go look at the ordinance. So that's all.
Well, I'm just saying, somebody in his camp looked at an ordinance, and I'm just going to give them, as much as I've criticized Sam Sutter's entire time as mayor, I will give him a little credit that he did 2 things right. He had Alan Silva, not the state rep, Alan Silva, break out the books and go through that whole thing, and showed us that we were in really bad financial condition before.
I wish he would do it again.
Yeah, that'd be great. But also that he actually followed our ordinance and probably, I'm guessing, state law as far as the 6 dwelling piece goes. So good for Sam. I'll give him a check mark. All right.
Oh, I see a check mark there. Oh, that was so nice of you.
Yeah. Positive.
Okay, and now.
Is there more?
What about official city bag? That's one of my fun things.
Nikki, you can read that one.
Well, because when the city says, right, the other ordinance said that trash has to be placed in an official city bag, one would ask, what is an official city bag? So then you go to the ordinance and you look at how the city defines.
Doesn't say pay as you throw.
An official city bag. Can we read how the city defines an official city bag?
Okay, you want me to read it?
The city of Fall River defines an official city bag as a trash bag authorized to be used by the city for disposing of solid waste into a green cart. That's a little confusing.
It's definitely not pay as you throw.
It says nothing about a purple trash bag. Nope. It says nothing about having to buy the bag at a retailer.
It must be why things keep on getting thrown out.
So,
so right now,
if the director of community maintenance,
nobody liked this. Someone liked this.
Don't we not have a director of community maintenance?
Correct. Not the same guy that was there when this was written.
Correct. But he's under a new title also.
Much better guy.
He's also under a new title.
So can you go back to that definition again, please?
I guess.
I love that definition.
I'm liking Nikki's post because nobody else did.
It's because I posted so much yesterday.
If I was a city councilor,
all right,
I would like all.
So let's read this. I think you already kind of touched upon the points.
Yeah.
Trash bag authorized to be used by the city for the disposing of solid waste. Okay, so.
And that was an ordinance that was put in 2015.
So basically, it does not say the color.
Nope.
It doesn't say that it has the city seal on it.
Nope.
It doesn't say that it is used for pay as you throw.
Nope.
So
doesn't say you even have to buy them, does it?
Nope. It says authorized it to be used by the city. It doesn't say you have to buy them.
Nope.
It doesn't say where you can buy them. And right now, you'll be lucky if you find a spot that actually has them.
So back in August.
So that's the first time I actually heard you say yep.
So back in August 2015, when they were doing this, you were just bugging out laughing.
I was laughing.
Who was the head of the ordinance committee back then?
Which
2015?
2015?
Not after the election, because after the election was Cliff Conte.
I know.
Before the election.
Ooh.
I want to say...
Was it Ray?
We had Ray. It was either Ray...
Ray was in it.
Who is I'm trying to think right now. Hold on a second.
Mioza?
When did Mike... Yeah, but Mike left, didn't he?
No, I don't think it was Mioza.
Mioza was a city councilor before, in this 2015.
Hold on.
And I think he was on the ordinance committee, but I don't know who the chair was.
Hold on, I'm look at. Do you know the answer to this or no?
I'm trying to remember, but I don't.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
There's so many city councils. I'm trying to even remember who was on the council at the time, to be honest.
But I do remember that I was there, and I believe Mike Mioza was there when he got hit with saying that by approving this budget.
Jazel might have been the head of the ordinance committee.
It was Jazel, wasn't it? It was Jazel. It was Jazel.
Wait a minute, I'm not sure.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
But I remember Mike Mioza got
2015.
hit. He got hit with someone saying to him that by voting, it was Judge Macy, by voting for the budget, you essentially voted for the bags.
Right.
Right.
Everybody said the same thing.
But I think that was ordinance meeting.
There have been so many different things that it's hard to place where and what. All I know is that in 2015, somebody thought this was the best way to define an official city bag.
This is no good.
And mind you, this is 2015, so this is like a year into pay as you throw.
I would actually bring this if I ever got thrown in court for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I would definitely
That's
bring
why
this.
it gets thrown out of court. Because legally by law, the city needs to be able to cite which ordinance was violated. And it's technically when there is no ordinance, there really legally isn't any ordinance that gives them authority to fine you. Mm-hmm. Because their ordinance are crap. Yeah. You can, and I'm going to tell you right now, for our city councilors who are like foaming at the mouth thinking that all the information I'm giving them is an easy way without them needing to do their research to change our ordinances, I could tell you there are plenty of ordinances outside of solid waste that would stop you right in your tracks from doing what you're trying to do anyway.
And just so everyone is aware, you are correct. It was Jazel.
Yeah.
That was the head in 2015.
Who else was on that?
Oh boy.
Ray.
Let's see. Let's see. During 2015,
Mitchell,
I see Ray Mitchell.
Pelletier.
I don't see
Leo. Yes, it was Leo and Pat Casey. Pat Casey.
No, Dan Rigo.
Oh, there you go.
Dan Rigo was on there too. And I cannot.
So who was it?
It was Dan Rigo.
Yeah.
It was Pat Casey.
Yep.
It was Ray Mitchell.
And
Jazel. That's the fourth. And I'm trying to find the fifth one right now. I gotta find the fifth person.
Isn't there only 4?
There's 5.
Should be a quorum, right?
There's 5 because it's a there's a quorum of.
Then it was Leo.
I don't know if it was Leo. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yes, because Leo and Casey were always yes votes, and it was irritating me. They were on the ordinance committee because they had no idea what they were saying.
Looking it up.
And I love Leo personally, just not as a counselor.
Well, I think that's how most of it goes for most of our councils. That like someone like Ray, who he can sit with us and talk with us and joke with us, and
I would never sit with Ray and talk with Ray Mitchell ever again.
Because of your personal
His
interaction.
little fake teary eye.
Right. But I'm just saying in general.
I love the employees. No, you don't.
But in general, you can sit with most of your counselors, and they'll be very
and
likable
respectfully,
individuals.
absolutely.
Right. But when it comes to doing the job, that number dwindles down as to who you have confidence in. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion.
There's another section of the ordinances too that's comical. But that's my point. Is they say they want to do X, Y, Z, but they don't put in the work. Like it's all talking points. You know what I'm saying? You can't say you're going to go in and charge people, you're going to force people to force their tenants to buy trash bags when you legally can't even force residents. Like, how the hell do you suppose you're going to do that? They have no legal authority to do it the way.
And even if you started to try to go down the ordinance route to enforce things, you have to again.
Zero contract would be over.
What we just spoke about was that you would also need to make sure that you're in line with certain entities such as Board of Health, state law, things like that. You have to bring more people to the table than just the hack show that you want to bring to the table to get more money out of people. Mm-hmm. You have to start really talking about reducing costs, reducing waste, finding different funding sources for solid waste. We talked about composting about 800 million times over the past 3-4 years.
And not just us, there were other residents who've gone up in front of City Council and talked about it as well.
Yeah.
It was Paul De Silva.
Oh my God.
It was Paul De Silva who then, I believe 2015 was the year that he actually jumped off, and then what happened was Steve Long took over.
Okay, I knew there was something. I was missing something. There was something that wasn't right.
Because there's Ray.
I'm surprised that anything was written at all.
Yeah.
Well, that back then, but see back then.
That's horrible. So yeah,
Jazel Correa was pro pay as you throw. So like a lot of people are always saying he's always been against the program.
No.
He was for pay as you for a. Let me rephrase what I'm going to say. He was for a pay as you throw type of program. He never said if it was going to be successful in Fall River, but it was a let's try and see.
Well, can I say it to you? Can I ask you?
Sure.
You'd be in favor of the program if it was paying for the right entity,
yes.
correct?
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
Well, that's what my argument, and I try to. where I say I walk the fence a lot of the time. I don't care whether you want to have a pay or throw is not. Let's talk, because that's not the point.
Right.
The point should be, why is our cost so expensive?
Right.
What trash are we picking up? Where are we picking it up from? What is our
Who
cost?
are we picking it from?
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there are nonprofits in the city who don't pay property taxes
Right.
but receive city MSW. If we're going to do that, okay, but take their trash and separate it from the rest.
When people say we're having a lot of arguments that are not. They're misguided. They're misguided arguments. Like, you're not going to argue fee over bag, because that's pointless. You're not going to. You can even argue tax over a fee. If you combine it together, you get a fax. Yeah. Never mind. But if you end up really having the discussion about it, the bottom line is you have to know how much each thing costs. Yeah, right. How much does your residential cost in comparison to your public service?
Would you hand your child your wallet and say, take your allowance?
Yes.
Because essentially that's what you're doing. You're saying, I'm okay with giving them money and not questioning what they're spending it on. But then at the same time, you'll complain your taxes are going up.
Yes.
Well, then you're not paying attention. I don't want to hear a conversation where anybody is telling me that the revenue from pay as you throw is going to help our police department. That's asinine, and nobody should even go there. The only thing the money for the bag should pay for is our trash. And if they're trying to have it go to pay toward other things, I would then ask, why do they need to charge for bags when they're taking in so much money from property taxes and from the state? It's kind of obvious what they're doing. And it's a basic creation of an argument to get people to fight about, we need pay as you throw, we don't need pay as you throw. I buy the bags, but my stupid neighbor doesn't buy the bags. The point is, why do you got to buy a bag in the first place? How about we reduce our costs so we don't...
It helps me recycle.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Oh, I know I'm recycling more. Well, good for you. You're paying $85 a ton. Meanwhile, to throw away trash, we're paying $72.
Yeah, just go off of something like non crazy like pay as you throw. Like when the sensible thing, when you buy a car, think about that. You buy a car, you're going to pay an X amount of dollars upfront because that's what it costs. But then aren't the next questions you're supposed to ask you is how much do I have to spend yearly? What amounts of money and that amount?
Does that price include taxes? You go to a restaurant and you want to know if the total includes tax and tip, right?
Right. Well, so yeah, good point. How much is it going to cost me for the year for my car? Oh, it's going to cost me about $2,000 for my car. What is that going to? What kind of fees is that? Oh, it's going to be, you're going to probably spend about $600 in maintenance and this and that. So you want to actually start to think about that in that $2,000.
How much is your insurance? How much are you going to need for gas every week?
So
it's called the budget.
So that's my point. It's like if you don't know. If people don't understand where the money where the money is going from your taxes, then how can you make the argument that pay as you throw is going to benefit the city? You don't know where that money is gone.
When people say to me, I don't mind buying the bags, I tell them, you're buying the bags, but did you know that we're picking up recycling from housing for free and your property taxes is footing that bill? Do you think that that's okay? If you think that it's okay that your property taxes can foot the bill for MSW services for businesses, for nonprofits, for what's the other thing? I just said
it. Schools. We have schools too.
Housing.
For housing. Yeah, thank you. For housing, but you have to get charged. Like, it just doesn't make any sense where your mentality is on that.
No. Keep in mind, back in the day, which was probably maybe about 3 years ago.
Ahmad. We always have to give Ahmad.
Yeah. So we actually had a thing in place that this stuff was going toward that said this is what we were spending it for. Does anybody remember what that fund was called?
It's the Sanitation Enterprise Fund.
Yes.
But it wasn't being done legally and properly the way it should have been.
Right.
And no matter what they came up with, bag fee, that, third, they were still taking money from the general fund. So
exactly.
Amen.
So no matter what, and remember, the Sanitation Enterprise Fund was supposed to be a self-sustaining fund. Sorry.
It is comical.
Because it was never self-sustaining for one, because they kept going to the general fund to get money to bail themselves out. So now, you have this money coming in from pay-as-you-throw. Does anybody know where it's going? General fund, maybe? Okay, so it's going to the general fund. Mm-hmm. So the general fund is supposed to do what?
Fund everything.
Fund everything.
Yeah.
So is there something that tells me that the money, the quote-unquote $2.5 million that they're generating from pay-as-you-throw is going to any kind of sanitation?
Nope.
No. So...
Because they never talk about sanitation. They talk about how much money we need for schools. They talk about how much money the police department needs. They talk about how much money the fire department needs.
That's right. So wait a minute. So you're trying to tell me that
I like
we
how
don't...
you said that's right, by the way.
That's right. But it's Nikki, we all know you're right. You see, the thing is that you're sitting back there right now and you're telepathically telling me what to say.
Oh, no, not you too.
Oh, no.
I just control Trop.
Hey, whatever. But no, so...
Does not compute.
So, the great part of all this is that we don't even know if that money that we're generating for pay-as-you-throw is actually paying for pay-as-you-throw.
Right.
It's not paying... Well, we don't even know if it's paying for part of the contract.
Yeah.
So, here's a nominal idea. When the pay-as-you-throw money is gone, and we're not collecting it anymore, are we still going to have a contract in place for people to still collect solid waste and recycling and yard waste, and it's not and things are not going to just be at a standstill? Yes, that's what we're paying for out of our property taxes. And if that's not happening, then guess what we're breaking? We're breaking state law.
Right. I just want to read. Is it alright if I read from Robert Correa?
Please.
Because Bob Correa, former mayor Robert Correa, was the one who started the Sanitation Enterprise Fund.
Yes. Correct.
And for years, I have been trying to ask this gentleman why he started the Sanitation Enterprise Fund, because that was important to me. When you read the ordinances that were changed when he was in office, one of them states explicitly that residents were not to be charged for the residential trash that they accumulated and disposed of in the city. That was one of his big things. So I asked him. He finally answered after all these years. So I asked him why it was important for him to create the Sanitation Enterprise Fund. He said the creation of the fund, as publicly stated when created, was to closely monitor, control, and contain the costs. However, when I was no longer mayor, predecessors never followed through. Thus, costs continued to raise. It would have led to more accountability in that area and would have either less cost or cost containment. No one followed through, and once the fund was abolished, there was little chance of cost containment and led to the mess that followed, purple trash bags. I then thanked him, but I asked why it was important for him to make sure residents were not charged to dispose of their residential trash. And he felt it was important enough to put into ordinance, and it's still there, by the way, just saying. He says, I felt they already were through real estate taxes. But there was no accountability because all the money was funneled through the general fund and lumped together, making it impossible to get control of costs. The more your government lumps together, the less knowledge the citizens have of what is really happening with their money. Some elected officials like it that way. And that was that. And that's what I thought. It was very important for that man, the mayor, the former mayor at the time, to say that residents should not pay for their trash. That outside entities should, businesses should,
absolutely,
other places should, but that residents themselves should not have to pay for their trash because that was included in their property taxes.
Now
that means a lot to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Now, if I'm not mistaken, was there another? I think he posted something else about the rainwater fee, the stormwater fee. If I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn I read something to the fact that we were always paying that. But what he did was he separated.
He said he claimed, but we could make the same argument. That's the argument that elected officials will use to put a fee on people and try to make it right in their own head, I guess.
Right.
Because when he did it, he should have decreased. If they're really trying to say that it's supposed to be an equal comparison, then we should see a decrease somewhere else. It's the same thing on a budget. When they take money out of one department and move it into another, you see the decrease in that department and then the addition in another. We weren't seeing that.
During, and I want to kind of bring it to the budget deliberations, they actually did start saying, why are we seeing a decrease here and an increase there? Because they've actually been a lot more cognizant and aware of trying to do that in this administration, which I think is a cool thing. I do too. I think it's really cool to say that we don't need to have $20,000 dedicated to this, and we reduced it. But the reason why we reduced is because we were actually using part of that for this, and now we want to make it more clear. Which I think that should have been started from day one. I mean, for the fact that you never knew where money was going, and now you kind of have a much better idea as to where it's going. I think that is the definition of, wait, what's that word? No, not accountability. It's the one that you can see through things. Transparency. That's it. Oh, so wait a minute. So this administration and their budget's being more transparent, right. Unlike what some of the counselors are saying. So which one do I believe?
Well, if you wanted to have a conversation about credibility and looking at the budget season once again, for the past 2 budget seasons, we've seen the council question whether or not the administration is going to be able to make their budget, limits or whatever they set, their projections. So, if we're keeping score objectively, I'm not even no leaning one way or the other on this. Objectively, who would you say has more credibility between the administration and the critical counselors?
Currently, right now, in my opinion, from the research that I have done and the homework that I have done, it would be the current administration.
Thank you.
I'm kind of pissed off that I have to say that. I don't like that.
It's true.
I don't want a transfer station.
Oh. Well, you don't want...
We all know you don't want it.
I don't want one that's going to collect trash from outside of Fall River. I believe that's where it's going. Obviously,
I'm 100% sure.
Oh, that's a guarantee.
And that's what I don't want.
But as long as it's self-maintained...
Right. Specific reason why, Nikki?
Because I think recycling is a very, very volatile commodity. I just don't... And I'm being dead honest, man. Anybody could just really look at the homework. It's not helpful. We already, maybe if we didn't have a transfer station.
You don't want us to be China.
It's not that. Who the hell is going to buy it?
Right.
If nobody, I don't want to be in a circumstance where 20 years down the road, nobody's buying recycling, because then the money we've spent the last 20 years has done nothing. I want to find ways of doing things for free first to reduce our output to begin with. That to me means more to me than any enforcement, any trash bag, anything. We need to reduce our output of trash. Otherwise, we're always just going to spend and spend and spend. They use trash in Fall River as it's their way of getting money. It was their way when the landfill was open. We've got a transfer station on Airport Road. So why can't we talk with them? That's what we're always touting private-public partnership, public-private partnership. They've been an employer to the city of Fall River for years.
Talking about Republic, right?
Yes, Republic Allied. So I just think maybe that's a conversation a public conversation maybe to be had, where to see if they would even be interested. I don't want to step on their toes either. Every piece of recyclables that we take from our trash, they don't get. So is our tipping fee going to increase with them if we're taking our recycling? You know what I'm saying? So those are questions that no elected official is asking. Again, we need to get to the details.
I think a lot of that has to do with those questions that they don't ask because they know if they ask it, the answer that they're going to get is not going to favor their argument.
Right.
It's just like the statistics thing where you're only going to talk about the numbers that back what you're trying to accomplish.
Statistically speaking, I can make every statistic say whatever I want, 100% of the time. However, the same statistic, Nikki can twist it and say, this is what it means to me. Which one's right? We're both right.
Right. Exactly.
Statistics has, and this is one of the things that I learned in school. Statistics is one of the craziest courses you can take because you can
that as well.
Because you can make it say whatever you want based off of the sample size and the sample pool that you do. Like, the greatest thing that you can say is that the greatest thing that, and you already mentioned it, was that ever since pay-as-you-throw, some MSW numbers have gone down. Recycling has gone up. Statistically, in
2015.
Statistically, that's true. These numbers back that up to an extent. But you made it perfectly clear that we were not accepting construction waste anymore. That right there shut down a lot.
Well, and also our trash totals include bulky waste.
Correct.
So that tonnage includes all bulky waste. So my next question is, when housing has bulky waste, where is it going?
That's true.
Who's paying for it? Is housing paying for it? Because that stuff's not included in their trash contract, because I've got that too, folks.
And there's no ordinance that even addresses this.
No. And that's my point. Yes, so when they say trash bags, hey, I'll gladly say we need purple trash bags when they can tell me exactly how much money residential only costs. Until then, I don't want to hear it.
The other great part. Oh man, I missed it. Oh, the other good question that you also brought up was that even though we have residents that do pay to have the tags and to have things disposed of, does the money that we pay for those actually cover the whole cost of disposing it?
There you go. That's the other part.
Because I remember
mattresses.
Exactly. That was my point. The point I was going to make was that I could have sworn that, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 years ago, when Mr. Kenny Pacheco was in
my favorite employee
was in front of the council, he made it very clear that the amount of money that they would, I think it was like 3 items for $20, and I think that counted for mattresses.
Yep.
No,
mattresses now they're
separate, but that did not cover the cost of disposing one.
Right.
So the fact that the residents were footing that bill for people who were throwing it out. It just goes to show that it was. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, if you want to fully enforce this correctly, and you want to pay for what you throw out, that has to go for everybody.
If I was a Fall River City Councilor, that's what I would do.
#truth.
All right, so I want to throw a couple things out. I mean, I was looking at some of these figures over here. Commingled.
Yeah.
85.
Like, what does that mean, though?
I thought it was 85 per ton.
No, it's 85 tons. That's tons of that particular item.
So 85 tons.
But what is
tons of
the definition of commingled?
Means together.
But I was thinking
but
it
what's
was
commingled?
I'm thinking it was your recyclables and trash.
Here's my. I was gonna ask you if that was a percentage though, but that's right because I see that's at 258. But
you do have a number for a tipping fee, which that's a clear figure.
Yes.
66.44. So
that is
there's
the
no
amount
real
of
legend on this too. Maybe there is. I don't know. Yeah,
what
there
do you
is.
mean? Oh, yes.
That
it tells you
legend.
exactly what it is, and if you look up at the top, it tells you up at the top.
Scroll down.
We're gonna need to. We're probably
right there. Indicates the amount of commingled containers recycled in tons, e.g., as collected as.
That's what I didn't.
It's just dual stream though.
Yeah, but I did say that, right?
But it's mixed. Recycling. What's mixed? What is it though? Is
recycling. Recycle.
You're saying recycling and trash. No, that's not that's not commingled.
Commingled.
It's like, remember what
single stream recycling.
But it's dual stream.
You have one section that's just paper, one that's aluminum, one glass.
Again, that's my point. If we don't know what each of these things is, how can they, when they throw out the total amount of trash, they only say it's residents. Residents get rid of X amount of tons of trash. False. You liar.
Liar.
You liar.
It says commingled containers recycled in tons.
So what does that mean? And where is that coming from? Is it another entity that has...
Whereas if you look at the cardboard one, for example, it says amount of cardboard recycled in tons. Mm-hmm. This says commingled containers.
Hold on a second. But
so maybe it's plastic jugs.
That makes a little sense
with cardboard,
got something in it.
With cardboard, it says when collected separately. So what happens if I have cardboard that's mixed in with my recyclables?
That's illegal according to our ordinances, just saying.
I know.
Going into a different direction because we're looking at data. We probably don't even. Some people that listen to us probably don't even know what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, but
I think they can figure it out.
But I don't think we need to go
there.
into data. I think there's more common sense that needs to be said that you know, the data will just back up everything we're saying.
But I wanna throw out there that pay as you throw. People who like pay as you throw.
What a swear.
People who like pay as you throw like it for specific reasons. They say that it shows accountability. If we increased our compliance, then there wouldn't be a problem here. And really what it comes down to is that people talk about that and really concerned more about the money aspect and the funding of the government aspect than it is about whether or not people are fairly being charged for what they actually use. Are people really being charged for residential trash services? We don't really know because we've never been given those figures. And as for the past hour or so, that's what we've been talking about. I wanted to mention that I had a conversation with someone where I said that there was a lot of wasted money. One of the biggest wastes that I've seen when it came to pay as you throw was the actual enforcement officers that were out there. And I posted this to someone. I had to go through a couple of budgets to see where pay as you throw enforcement was in the actual budget. I believe it was a grant. Am I wrong? Was there a grant?
Yes.
There was a grant? Or am I wrong?
We receive a grant from the state for pay-as-you-throw program.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that pay-as-you-throw program in its entirety states we have to have enforcement. So I'm not exactly sure how many dollars,
yes,
because I believe it changes, it's less throughout the year.
My guess is they threw it right into the general fund and everything else.
There is a place that we can go and see exactly what the city of Fall River was awarded for that enforcement piece.
I vaguely remember seeing something like that. Yeah. So anyway, pays you throw enforcement. It was 4 officers. All 4 of them got paid the same amount of money, $12,445. I multiplied that by 4, ended up with $49,780. Nikki, this was done in the 2015-16 budget. Yeah. That's where I got this information from. Did compliance increase during that process?
I wouldn't know.
Because we never know the compliance numbers, correct?
Nope.
What we do know is that they were still short their projected budget.
Okay, can I say one thing about their projected claim of how much pay-as-you-throw is going to make?
Of course.
If they're not saying exactly how many residents
are
buying bags and getting services, then they can't say how much we should be getting in revenue from that purple bag.
But I will say that they were still not meeting their projections.
What they claim, yeah.
Right. So, however they came up with their projections and whatever process, they weren't meeting their projections. So, therefore, they were not keeping up with compliance. So, we spent almost $50,000 for compliance officers when it was not helping compliance. And I pulled up article. This was a gentleman that he was a realtor. I guess he's a friend of Cliff Ponte's. I'm not sure really exactly. He was definitely a supporter of Cliff Ponte's. Mm-hmm. But he said that that we weren't able to show backup data from some of my claims, and I said that thousands of dollars have been wasted on compliance. Not only has it been wasted on compliance, I don't even think that they have the authority to force people to comply if the dollars are not showing exactly what they're paying for. That's just my opinion. So as far as warranties, Nikki, you want to touch on this one? I know you talked a little bit about how retailers cannot be forced into selling the bags.
Sean Kadeem had said something, and I don't know if he really meant to. I'm not going to say that he meant to say it in the way that he said it, but he said we need to tell our retailers, or I don't know if he used the word forced. We need to have our retailers selling these bags, and the way he sounded was if they were going to force a retailer to sell the bags. One, you can't do that. There is no law on the books saying any private retailer has to sell the official city bags. If the purple bags are even the official city bags, because I don't know what those are. There's no clear definition of what the official city bag is. I don't know.
Maybe if they put a picture.
If Jazel tells me to use a black bag, is that okay?
All bags matter.
Oh boy.
I don't know if I would have gone there, but anyway.
Man.
I'll forget that.
Ouch.
Rewind.
That was tough. That was a tough one right there. So campaign promises. Want to have a conversation about campaign promises?
Oh, there were so many.
Yeah.
Can we start with the most blatant one?
Yeah. So, one, Cliff Ponte Jr. So, he's council president. He's very, very popular in the city. He's got a lot of votes. I think that if we were taking Jazel out of the equation, I would think that Cliff has a very good chance of becoming the next mayor of Fall River. I'll throw it out there.
I think he ruined his chances.
Who? Who's got the chance of
Cliff
becoming
Ponte.
the next man? You still say he's got...
Well, I think, obviously, I think he took a big hit this week.
It.
Yeah, he took a big hit this week with this campaign promise. And then what bothered me was...
He's in Linda Land now.
You know what bothered me about the campaign promise piece was that he obviously clearly made a campaign promise that he didn't live up to. My problem is that he didn't own it. This week, a lot of people, including myself, called him out on the fact that he did not live up to a campaign promise of. And it said it on his flyers, he said it in his commercials on the radio, that he was going to get rid of the Purple Bag program and replace it with something that was not going to be a burden on the taxpayer. That means a lot to me personally, because I've been talking about the burden on the taxpayer from the day I started trying to run. So for him to say that and to run on that and to get elected on that kind of platform, you know, I had hope in the beginning. I even sent them messages, you know, like, I hope you're doing a great job. I hope the best for you. Like, I was trying to be supportive of Cliff Ponte in the beginning. Even Jordan, who's a friend of mine who hates everybody, was like, no, you know, he's full of crap. And I'm like, give him a shot, give him a chance. No. He ended up falling short earlier this week when he voted to keep the bags. Now, again, campaign promises are broken all the time. People still get elected. It happens all the time. As a matter of fact, Jazel himself broke campaign promises, and he still got himself elected.
Hey, we had $1,000 for educational materials for a drop-off recycling program.
So from there, on social media, quite a lot of people went out there and called him out on it. They put posters, they put pictures of his pamphlet where it said he was going to get rid of the bags, the whole 9 yards. So Cliff himself went on Facebook to respond. And you know what?
Basically, the long and short of it, and while you actually find the exact post, I'll leave, because I remember seeing this. The long and short of it is that he said, you have to read the second part of what I said. He wants to replace it with something that will benefit the residents. And he basically stated that he was not going to get rid of it because of the revenue that was bringing in. Well, I was thinking about that. I was definitely... you have the article? Yeah, so, you have it.
So first of all, I'm going to take a look at the actual pamphlet that he sent out in 2015 when he was running for city council. And it said, and I'm going to get the full size here, it said that as your city councilor, I will work hard to end, it's the first thing, I will work hard to end the Purple Bag pay-as-you-throw program as well as the $10 trash fee and replace it with a program that does not burden the citizens. Now, he also didn't really contribute to getting rid of the fee either.
No, he did not.
No, he did not.
So, actually, there's two broken promises there. But... Yep. To end the Purple Bag pay-as-you-throw program as well as a $10 fee and replace it with a program that does not burden the citizens. That's what he said. That's what it was put in. That was like the very first sentence of what he would do as a city councilor, was that actual thing. Now, he got called out on it. And his response was, and I'm going to look this up. And he says, let's keep going here. It
was legit one of the very first few. There it is.
So he says, the first thing that you want to do when I tell kids when they're trying to resolve a conflict is use I statements, right? Not you statements, because you statements is accusatory and it kind of points the finger at the other person. Correct. So Cliff Ponte's response to this is, you should read what the next few words state. Replace it with a program that does not burden our taxpayers. What was the other program presented to the council? There isn't one. All right.
Well, I have a program that could be presented to the city council.
Yes.
It's a program that existed before Pay As You Throw. It worked.
What was it called?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
It didn't work. We need to reduce what we're paying for our costs. We need to reduce our output. So we did have a trash problem. We had a trash problem because our city took all the money that we were getting from the landfill, and instead of utilizing it for a great program, they chose to put it into their salaries in their future pensions, which is why we're in the crap that we're in today. They didn't use any of that money to make a great program.
So could we say that we're in a lot of trash right now?
Yeah.
So,
Liquid trash.
Councilor President Ponte continues on saying,
Is it?
As a rock.
saying, right now, we are faced with roads that need attention, a police department that needs more manpower, and a school system that needs to see classrooms reduced, and a high school that will have impacts on the municipal budget for debt payment in amounts of $2 million per year. Not to mention, we need pay-as-you-throw to get rid of our trash. The trash pickup contract that has increased from 3.3 to 4 million plus in this fiscal year, not to mention the cost to get rid of our trash and recycling. So there's that. It's the same kind of conversation that you guys were talking about earlier, where people say we need this to get rid of our trash, we need this to get rid of our trash, but they don't know exactly how much it costs to get rid of residential trash services. So you have that going on. So the reply and the response basically was, you actually had all these concerns in the past when you made these promises before. Firemen, police, school department has always needed, in roads, has always needed improvement and always needed funding. So pay-as-you-throw was not going to, be this magical entity that was going to pay for everything.
Right.
So we need to, if you're going to make a promise to get rid of this program, then recognize that, own up to it when you didn't do that, and then just go from there. Makes the most sense to me.
Mm-hmm. But he doesn't want to take any of that blame.
Did not own up to it.
He owned up to nothing.
Nothing, and he just went back to you know you're supposed to do this, and you're aware of this, and to me, I don't think it really made him look very, what's the word?
In 2011, we were getting money for recycling.
Gracious. It wasn't very gracious.
Yeah,
in 2001?
11.
Yeah, 2011, we were actually
bins.
we were getting paid for them to cart out our recycling.
Yeah, that was little bins,
No,
right?
that's we were getting grants, is what I'm saying.
Oh, grants.
Grants.
Yeah.
Way back in 2011.
The EPA also shows that we did not, that this area, this specific kind of area in Fall River with the triple deckers and the whole 9 yards, the EPA shows that this was probably not the best place to implement bags based on compliance complications. There's an actual regulation that actually states this from the EPA. Now, I recall Pam Liberty LeBeau. You like that? I recall Pam Liberty LeBeau. No, I recall that she stated that because I was actually in the building for that one, when they decided to vote to keep the purple bags in the budget, she said that there needs to be some type of regulation out there, language that shows that compliance can occur in a place like Fall River with the deckers and all that kind of stuff. But the truth of the matter is that the EPA states that actually a place like this would actually have a harder time enforcing compliance. So you have that going on. Is there any regulation from pay-as-you-throw that states what the bag money is supposed to pay for anyway?
Nope.
That's something that should be talked about a little bit too, don't you think? Mm-hmm. Like, pay-as-you-throw is just a program that has municipal contracts, but it doesn't, and it's supposed to raise money for the municipality, but it doesn't actually designate where that money is supposed to go.
But that was from the inception of pay-as-you-throw. If y'all remember, even Flanagan said that this was going to, if we get pay-as-you-throw, we'll be able to save firemen and
fire department
and all that stuff. So right from the start, the purpose of pay-as-you-throw was already skewed. It was already being used for something it wasn't supposed to be used for anyway.
The other thing that I was able to pull up, and I think we've talked about a million times as well, Has anyone ever really taken it to court or been taken to court and lost when they've challenged this?
Well, I was going to say, if you would have stopped when you said taken to court, the answer is people have gone to court for it. Have they ever had to pay for a fine after going to court? No. I don't know of one recorded victory where pay as you throw won and they had to pay that fine. And if people did pay that fine, it's because they never went to court.
So to people who think that compliance is going to be the answer to this, that you're going to be able to fine people and fine landlords and do all this, that, and the other, understand that it really hasn't held up in court very well. So I think doubling down on compliance, doubling down on the purple bags, doubling down on the quote, we need to pay for our trash, it's just been a failing project from day one. They had an opportunity to go in a different direction. They had an opportunity to try to implement something that was going to work better. They had an opportunity to clean this whole thing up. And instead what they do, they want to just keep the same thing going over and over again.
They trashed it.
They sure did, man.
I am trying to tag you in this, but for some reason it will not let me tag. Let me try it again.
You got something going on.
Right. Or who? Who are you trying to tag?
There we go. Him, so that he could...
Pull it up.
Yeah, there we go.
She's got something going on over there.
She's been.
Just so the grant stuff. So
just so everybody knows,
I found the grant stuff.
Just so everybody knows, Nikki's been feverishly looking at stuff for the last.
No, it's all the same stuff. I really didn't need to feverishly look at stuff. The only thing that I had to look at was the latest, which was the 2017 solid waste survey. That was the only thing that I looked at because I kept seeing that 30,600 number, and I'm like, that's not right.
City of Fall River, educational materials. Oh my goodness, $1,000. There you go.
So here we have all this money, but we don't ever hear about this money. So we need to take this money and deduct it from residential. Because this is only for residential stuff.
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
Compactor for single stream, $7,500 as well on the bottom there. You got. Let's continue on. What you sent me.
And the dates are up at the top. So they were sometimes the same year we got more than one grant.
Yeah. Oh, so this goes all the way down the list. Okay, so City of Fall River, $66,000 for Sustainable Materials Recovery Program. Interesting.
2015.
Small scale payment, $2,000. So we got $68,000 for that in 2015. Interesting.
Yeah. What did that?
Mass DEP.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that why
we don't ever hear about this incoming money.
No, we never hear any of it.
It gets more interesting the further back in time you go.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like $200,000 interesting.
For this? No.
See what it's for.
No.
I'm gonna tell you what it's for.
You got this one? Is this one it?
I think you might have gone. No, go ahead. No, that's a new one. Go ahead.
That's a 61,000. I think this is.
Nope. No, I don't think that was. No, that was definitely not it.
Fall River, yeah, 61,000.
Oh, mattress recycling
incentive. Whoa!
What?
No!
What? In what year?
2015.
And then there's a star, and if you read the star, it says the mattress recycling incentive provides access to a Mass DEP funded program for the transportation and recycling of discarded household mattresses. No funds will be provided directly to the municipality.
Unless they charge for it.
The amount awarded represents the approximate value of the grant over 2 years.
Unless they charge people to collect them. And then when they charge people to collect them, where does that revenue go? Is it going toward trash?
Probably not.
What say you, Fall River City councilors? I can't question some of the current ones because some of the current ones weren't councilors in 2015, but several were in November of 2015.
Well, now.
If they're really looking into the sanitation problems, they would know this, wouldn't they?
Boy.
Go ahead, I think you saw it.
I wish I really.
You might have saw it.
Boy.
What does it say?
Oh boy.
What does it say? How much did the city get? And for what?
There you go, Derek.
Oh, wow.
Read it. How much did the city get for implementing?
So the Mass DEP Sustainable Materials Recovery Program Municipal Regional Grant Awards for October 2014. City of Fall River, I'm going to start with the smaller one because this is going to get ridiculous. Targeted Small Scale Initiative was $2,000. Now the City of Fall River received for pay-as-you-throw startup funds.
Startup.
$200,000.
So to force residents to buy purple bags, they got paid $200,000. Did that $200,000 go toward our sanitation costs by any chance?
2,000. You know what, Nikki? Maybe you can look this up if you haven't already, and maybe if you, because I think this is up your alley here.
That's insane.
That's not the biggest figure on this document.
Oh, I know.
The $500,000 went to the Greater Lawrence Sanitary District, which consists of Lawrence, Methuen, North Andover, and regular Andover. Organics to Energy Project to integrate source-separated food waste into an anaerobic digestion facility.
We've
talked so much about this before.
Ooh, yeah.
So what we're saying is that the Mass DEP will grant awards to you if you're looking to do an alternative method of food waste sanitation, processing. So, how has the greater...
Wait, before you got more, honey. Go.
I just want to throw this out there real quick. How has, and have you already looked this up, how has Greater Lawrence benefited from this over the past 4 years?
Everybody is having issues.
Okay, great. All right, good. That's good to know.
There are some places who were collecting food waste, and they since stopped.
Yep. Now you said keep looking at this,
Others?
or
no, go ahead. Keep going back in time.
Yeah, the other one. All right.
Because that's 2014 that we got $200,000.
Yes, ma'am. Let's keep going here.
Yep, there it is.
I'd like to see if there was any progress made with Andover and Methuen and all that. So let's see this one here.
Right, so that's the one we're on right now. Okay.
He's looking over.
Because I just want to, because I just go.
Fall River, City of Fall River. I got Targeted Small Scale Initiative 2000 for 2013.
That's 20. Oh, yeah, all right. So I don't have that. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I don't see anything for Fall River here.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
No, I just see that $2,000.
Yeah. Okay. So then keep going to more pitches.
All right.
I'm blind, so I couldn't see every single.
So next one I think is the November 2012 one.
We're gonna go to November 2012.
All right.
And we can pull this one up. You can pull it up if you want.
Yeah, I got it.
And just say City of Fall River.
Targeted Small Scale Initiative is another 2,000.
Yeah, we got $2,000 there.
What does that mean?
Targeted Small Scale Initiative provides funding for materials and services that will sustain existing municipal waste reduction programs such as educational materials, public space recycling containers, compost bins, and other small investments that reduce solid waste and increase recycling.
Do you like that?
So we've been getting $2,000 a year consistently for those materials only. And
anybody have those materials?
I don't. I definitely don't have a compost bin. I would 100%.
And this is in addition to the compost bins that we were awarded all those years.
$10,000?
It was
$10,000, yeah.
There's been so much, but there's 2 more years.
I asked Dan Rigo that question too, and he just threw his hands up. He was like, whatever.
Because they don't want to question when money is cut. You saw you saw it, Derek.
I
follow the money, honey.
I just went ahead of the game.
Oh, the $5,000 for the bulky items.
And that's not even the biggest.
This
2010.
Wait for this one.
You're gonna like it.
$100,000 for recycling carts.
So wait a minute. So what we're trying to say?
And what year?
2010. So wait a minute. So the fact that we've been bonding to get we bonded $900,000 to get carts. These guys gave us 100 G's to do this already. Back in the day.
The thing is, does anybody else notice that they're taking in money that gets added to what is currently considered revenue, but whatever they're bonding for is for future budgets.
Yep.
And that's my point. So they're taking in these dollars by pretending these are great programs just to make their budgets look good. Meanwhile, they're bonding for trucks. They're bonding because they got money for trucks too. By the way, we got money for trucks, for our trash trucks. So there are things that we continue to keep getting money for, but that's a part of the ruse. They're pretending these programs are going to be great for the city. They're not. They actually cost us so much more money. But the reason that they keep doing it is because it gives them current revenue. To say, look how much money I have in the surplus. Look how much money I was able to bring in. No, that's not the case. You're bringing it in today, but for the next 20, 30 years, the taxpayers are footing the bill to pay for the baloney that you're trying to tell us is good for us.
It's a very, very interesting situation.
Trash is an expensive business.
So once we do get the actual figures down one day as to how much it costs for municipal trash services for residents only, as to what we need to do, then we can determine if tax dollars is already covering that. And if it's not, and you think you need a fee, then we need to start to generate a actual fee that covers the actual cost. And then you have to determine if you're going to reduce or at least eliminate whatever your tax dollars goes into it.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If you and that was what made the $10 trash fee that Sutter did almost, and it was an illegal tax because you were getting double taxed based on what your property taxes were paying. You were getting taxed, and I don't care what anybody says, you were getting taxed from pay as you throw, and then you were getting, actually that was a triple tax.
And then threats to not pick up trash, threats to do this and that and the other are empty threats because you're not legally bound to do so.
Because our ordinance basically states that
Shall,
the city of Fall River shall, not may, shall, that was with my accent, pick up the solid waste.
And you want to make sure that if you're going to impose this on people, where you're going to leave trash on people's property with ordinances in place the way they are, you might want to see if state law allows you to just do such things and Board of Health allows you to do such things before you make those empty threats.
Because once again, what trumps everything? I didn't mean to say that.
Hey, whatever, man.
State law trumps everything. Because what was the whole point of having the charter committee? Because they have to review the charter for changes in what? State law, so we can comply with it?
Yeah, that's one of the things about the charter where I voted against it. You know, I wanted a change to the charter. I did want the change to the charter. I just wanted something that I felt was the mechanism was going to be a little more designed for people's input and having some mechanism for what the people want, and I think it just became a different kind of document. But either way, all the way down the line, all the way up and down the line, pay as you throw has been
money sucker.
It's been a failure. Like, it's hard for me to look at anything outside of the reduction of tonnage as a positive. And
even that they can't prove is pay as you throw.
Because how can you so hold on a second. So and this is where I have my problem. So let's just say all in total, and I'm just going to throw out a round number, that between solid waste and recycling there was, let's just say 40,000 tons. Okay, let's just say that. Okay, and then all of a sudden you started seeing a bigger shift toward recycling than solid waste. But that's not what you saw. You saw drops in both numbers.
Yep.
So now, from a city that was generating 40,000 tons of combined solid waste and recycling, now we're down to 30,000. The amount of people that live in Florida hasn't dropped that dramatically to drop at 10,000 tons by a quarter. So
and only 2,400 households went to a private trash hauler.
Correct, and that's less than 10% of the total number of households anyway. So where did that go? So if you're trying to say so that's yet another argument where statistics, or just plain out just thinking about it, so you don't need statistics, fails you. You think about it. If a quarter of the residents didn't opt out, then that means a quarter of the combined trash couldn't have gone away. So what else happened with pay as you throw? And as Nikki has stated, it's we stopped collecting the debris.
I don't know what else. I mean, I know we have done that. We've stopped collecting construction and demolition debris, and I'm sure that was a lot. Think about that.
All the work that's done in the city.
Yes. So that's what my question is what other things has he done? Because it's been since Jazel Correa has been mayor. I can't knock that, What else has he done to decrease our costs? If we continue in that way, stopping the illegal things from coming into the city that we were collecting, we're no longer collecting. Instead of a transfer station, I would like to see it composting. I think composting would be
huge,
cheaper and more beneficial to us, because composting, we're always going to eat, we're always going to get rid of our food. I mean, if they wanted to do a worm farm, I'd even be behind a worm farm. Those are things that we could turn around and sell. That's what I want to do.
Can
That's what I'd be rather into. Not recycling that. It's so volatile. What's going to sell this? You know, what might sell this week might not be what's selling high next week. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a lot of constant work, and I believe will be more money into the future. But if we go the other route, where in the composting arena, I think that could make us some money.
I agree.
And take a lot of, you know, looking at the data that the city's providing, you know, we're doing good outside of pay as you throw. Our recycling increased when the city got the bigger bins, the 95-gallon carts, which was amazing. But even those, like I asked, instead of charging, you know, why are we going to pay for everything? And when I always say decrease our costs, one of the things I mentioned online was, why do we need to collect recycling at the same number of days we collect trash? It's a separate route, so the trucks, they're not collecting them at the same time.
Skip over a week,
it's a second run through the same area, but we're only collecting three times less recycling than solid waste. How much could we save that way? You know, and that's what irritates me. Our even for our residents, like, man, if you want the purple bags, that's cool, but how about we still reduce costs?
We've been getting compost money, $2,000 a year for compost bins. Yeah. I would use a compost bin in a heartbeat.
Me too.
I would love to get a compost bin on this property that I live on. I would get one if I owned a house in Fall River. If I owned a house in Fall River, I would have a compost bin.
Well, and that's the other thing. If we couldn't do it citywide, then how about starting, because not everybody has yard waste services or is interested in compost. True. So then let the people who are look into the grants. Let them get some of that revenue. You know what I'm saying? If they're the ones who are going to put in that's what I want to see. In order for us to reduce our costs, we really need to come together as a community and do that. Not just say, pay for this, pay for that. Why do we need to pay for it? Let's decrease our costs. So then we can save some money and put our money into other things. I want more police officers. I want more firemen. I'm all about that.
The Casella issue.
And nobody talks about that either, the Casella contract.
So the Casella issue is really one of the X factors involved in this whole process, because we increased our recycling. You can say maybe the purple bags did it. You can say the bigger bins did it. But increased recycling was a double-edged sword.
Right.
Because of our contract with Casella, which we still are in the contract with, correct? So they need, and this is the reason why, and some people who are listening may know this, you get this big list of what you're supposed to recycle, what you're not supposed to recycle. This is all based on Casella issues, not Fall River issues.
Yep.
It's just the fact that we're in contract with Casella.
Because it's where they dispose their recycling.
So Casella is who charges us when we, quote, contaminate our recycling. If we don't follow the very specific guidelines that we're supposed to follow for recycling, then that makes our recycling costs probably double.
And that's something as small as wet cardboard is considered a contaminant. So while we're washing our lovely plastic jugs out to rid them of the oil residue,
the water,
are we drying them out? Not for nothing, they're outside in the rain.
The contaminated recycling charges that we get from Casella, it's like a fine. They fine us this. So
how comical.
We're talking about, and what was it? How much is the tonnage of recycling? I'm pull it up real quick.
6,960 tons.
She has it memorized. It is 6,960 tons in 2017.
Yeah.
That all gets, if that's contaminated, that all gets fined on top of us.
It's not, and that's what I'm saying. And not for nothing, that's a pitiful number.
Right.
That's pitiful. Considering we're collecting from housing and everything, that's pitiful.
Right. So
schools, pitiful.
So our problem here is that, yes, you know, you can support the purple bags because it increases recycling in your mind. You can say that. But the truth of the matter is,
more expensive to recycle.
Right. It's not actually helping our city to do that. So I'm just so thrown off by how badly you need these purple bags in your life right now.
Instead of reducing our costs.
Yes.
I'm not even pro-pay.
There's so many different ways. There's so many different ways to handle this issue. If you keep on going down this road, number one, it's illegal. It's not it's not even. You don't even know if it's illegal. You don't even know what it's paying for.
Right.
You don't know what it's paying for. So they can't fine you for this if they don't know what it's paying for.
The fines are they can fine all day long.
Yeah.
The fines are getting thrown out in court. So here's the other thing, right? We're also paying for that court time. We're paying for the time it takes
out of work
for those people to be in court.
Yep.
Like, so it really is a waste of money. It's costing more tax dollars than it's saving.
Yes.
So, I mean, and I can show you that. Everything I've talked about, I'll gladly sit down with the budget and separate what residential is from other things, from the businesses and the schools, and work it out. I would gladly do that with any of them.
Page throw sucks. That's all I got. We could have probably just went with that in the first sentence of the show and then start talking about other stuff the rest of the way. I don't really, I'll be very truthful. Today this was your day, so I didn't even look up other things. I didn't have other topics planned because I wanted to make sure that you got the full platform on this. Do you feel like you got the full platform on this?
I will never feel like it is. Over.
You can give her 3 months, 2 hours every show, and there will be more and more and more though. But if
you still have 20 minutes left, Nikki,
can we play a game of Where Are They Now?
It's just.
Yeah, let's do that.
I wonder if Nikki knows where I'm going to go with this.
Conk.
Oh my gosh! Did you guys see my post?
So Seekonk is sort of like what you don't want the transfer station to be in Fall River, where people are just dumping our recyclables on us. We're dumping political recyclables on Seekonk right now.
Yeah, I guess so. More than one.
Right.
Yes, though, but we've
had former teachers also head to Seekonk.
I like Seekonk, to be honest. I go to Seekonk. I
feel bad for them.
Not Your Average Joe's. It's one of my favorite
restaurants. It's a toss-up for me because on one hand, I'm like, I
love the one in Seekonk.
I like that they're taking them, but then on the other hand, I'm like, oh man, they don't know what they're getting into.
Well, I like all that commercial, all that commercial property they have, like right on Route 6. It's a beautiful thing. I wish we had something similar to that in Fall River. We had some commercial property going on here.
Boy, the real estate agents in Seekonk are going to be lucky people.
Yes, it's coming. The wave is coming.
We have New York real estate agents who are interested.
Walking around, talking around. I know. Trust me, I seen that.
See? Oh, you saw it too. So you were like, oh shit, Nikki's right.
When I'm now working in the city now. I was working out of town for the past 3 years. I now work in the city every day. I see the neighborhood. Every day. I'm seeing it all over the place now. I feel a lot more connected. That's one thing I can say about the jobs. I feel a lot more connected to the community. So it's interesting. Very, very interesting.
That was good.
So I wanted to let you know something about. I went to a South End neighborhood meeting.
Did you?
I did, and it was very good. I got to meet the Mr. Kafori, the person who is investing about $4 million or so into the King Phillips area. Got a chance to talk to him. As someone who lived in that area, I used to live on Benjamin Street when I was a little kid. I used to walk across Cook Pond and go to Laurel Lake and Henry Lloyd every morning back in the day. I gotta say, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel very good that this is happening. I like it. What's your opinion?
I won't have an opinion until I see
what
comes to
fruition. I mean, without giving away Nikki's personal information, she does live in that range.
Oh, I'm definitely in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not... Anytime... It makes me sad that we don't... When I was a kid, when we were kids, a lot of artists utilized that property. They rented spaces in there to practice their music or, so that part of me is sad that we've lost that. So I hope that our artists and our musicians can still find spaces to practice in and to jam in. I love that. But, I mean, you walk through the city, of course I want there to be. I don't want it to be a broken down mill that's got a fence around it and nobody's utilizing the property, Right. I would love to see it look a lot better than what it looks today. Am I nervous? Of course. Am I nervous that the property is still going to be covered and nobody will be able to utilize the area? Of course. There are kids who fish around there that have fished there my entire life. I don't want them to lose that. You know, and I know they can go down to Cook Pond, but not every kid can leave their house and go that far. Sometimes they can just go across the street to Cook Pond, and you know, so I don't want that to get lost anywhere.
The other thing that I wanted to mention, well, I don't know if this matters to you guys. It matters to me personally. There was another presentation besides Alan Sylvia's and Mr. Kafori's. There was another person that went up there. I forgot his name, honestly. I really feel bad that I forgot his name. However, he passed out pamphlets. He's from the public library right down on North Main Street. He came to do a presentation, and he talked about all the different services that the public library still is effective in the community with. One of them was Ancestry.com. They actually cover you the cost to do Ancestry.com there.
Oh, wow. You can use their, it's a library subscription to Ancestry.
Right. Well, yeah, there is a cost, but it's not a big cost. Not compared to the cost of Ancestry.com.
No, I'm not. And there's no cost to residents when they go in to use the program. They can use that for free. So
I'm actually looking to go down there sometime in the next week or so to really... I think that's just an awesome service. So,
aside from Ancestry.com, they have.
Are you interested in that?
They have the slides, the old newspapers that show obituaries, tons of obituaries. I've been going to the library for Ancestry for years. They have their the address, the indexes. There is a plethora of information if you're doing any kind of ancestry in the city.
I was very motivated to see some of these things. I was very happy to see this. Another thing I want to talk about.
Money that could also be made. There are many people who live outside of Fall River with deep Fall River roots.
There's also another thing that I wanted to throw out there as well. So
maybe I'll catch it.
We joked about it a little bit in the beginning, but the If I Were a City Councilor series that you've been putting out there. So a person, I know that they don't care if I mention their names, but I'm going to say it anyway. A person mentioned to me last night how discouraged they were about how poorly they seen the city council perform this week. It was very disappointing. They were very discouraged, and they're just like, what do we got to do to make like real change around here, you know? And they were part of the recall group back in the day, and I think that the recall group has definitely seen its struggles over the past few years. A lot of people splitting in different directions, and this one hates that one.
Well, I didn't realize we were a gang.
Well, I thought
we were just residents.
Some people looked at it that way.
I thought we were just residents who all had a common opinion.
Everybody's got an opinion, right?
Yep.
All right. So anyway, it went all in people looked more unified at one point, and then everyone doesn't look as unified anymore. And people were fighting back and forth, and a lot of stuff over the years. But I have to say, post-recall, some of the things that I think when we saw the group more uniform, some of the goals that they wanted to get rid of and take care of have started to actually happen, but they happened a different way. Meg Mayo Brown, no longer with us in Fall River. Froed, no longer with us in Fall River. Sam Sutter, no longer mayor, imposing fees in Fall River. Linda Pereira is not even involved in city government right now. Rich Cabaceres is in Seekonk.
Yeah, you gotta stop. As much as you want to believe that, I truly don't believe that. She has an influence somewhere. She may not be on that council, but I have a very.
We're nitpicking.
I don't care, but I don't.
All right, but nit and pick real quick. I want to continue on.
It doesn't matter. I still believe in my heart of hearts that she has a lot.
She's peeking out the blinds.
Okay.
Yeah. She has more influence on of what's going on right now on that council floor.
Absolutely not.
I believe so.
Absolutely not. Linda would never, ever, and I can't even believe I'm sticking up for this woman right now.
Okay.
She would never, ever, ever, ever be behind forcing a landlord to force a tenant to buy her back.
She literally wasn't.
She was so adamant that it was written into ordinance that only the generator of the trash was the one who was fined.
She was against that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm
anyway, so continuing on. So we're going to continue on here. Please. So all these things have happened.
Yes, Dad.
All these things have happened because Jazel Correa became a politician, played the game, went through the whole process, became a city councilor, ran for city council, ran for mayor, became mayor, and got involved.
Like Like a Monopoly game.
And got involved in city government, and he's very likely carried out more recall-related goals than anybody post-recall.
True enough.
Since 2014.
I'll agree with that.
Right? Right.
When you think about it,
I love sports, and I love rap. I love old school hip hop. Right. So there's a statement. There's two statements. It's called check the stats. Right. And scoreboard.
There we go.
And scoreboard. Right. And scoreboard. If we're checking the scoreboard right now, and you think that you're an advocate for the city, you know, doing whatever you do, think about compare that to what's been done. Compare that to what's been done by someone who's actually gotten involved in city government and made changes. Compare it. Scoreboard. Right? We're gonna do it?
we could.
We could.
Go ahead, you got time.
So, I already went through what Jason went, did. I say that Nikki Medeiros should no longer talk about if I was a city councilor. You should talk about when I become a city councilor.
No. This is the point. The point that needs to be made is I don't want to be a Fall River City Councilor.
Just saying.
I want the people who are running for the council and the voters to elect people who actually care about the city. If every voter,
if they did, then they would probably
voter was educated, every voter would be fully aware of what these jerks were doing.
Nikki, you're kind of making my point, because if everyone was educated,
I know, but the difference is I don't want to be a city councilor.
Just throwing it out there.
Like, I literally, when I say that at the meeting, I would have duct taped Steve Kamara's mouth shut. I really would have duct taped Steve Kamara's mouth shut.
I love the fact that he responded.
I love that he responded too, because guess what? That's what I want to see. And I got to tell him, your long-winded conversations are not helping.
I have Steve blocked still on Facebook.
So when it's not an insult when I say that I would have duct taped his mouth shut, it's the truth. He was talking too much, and I saw a switch in the council at that moment that it was going the complete opposite way. And at one point, I thought for a minute when Kilby was asking questions, if I'm big on that. I don't care where they stand, but if they're willing to sit down and have a conversation and learn about it and maybe work on it, that's what I want. So when that gets impeded, I'm not thrilled about that. Yeah. Is that a word, impeded?
Yes.
Didn't sound right for
impeded upon. You add
upon.
Yeah, you add the upon in the middle of that.
All right.
You're good though. If you would have just left that as impeded, it would have been fine.
So, and then the when I mentioned it several times about my idea to reduce the number of days we collect recycling. One of our counselors finally said, that's a good idea, So, and then when Pam had said that was a good idea, and then I had posted it again with Cliff, because, man, I don't know what's up. There are several people. I'm not sure if he's the one who gave that number that they give it, but I need to tell the counselors, guys, you've got to get on that and fix it because you look dumb. It just doesn't work.
Unfortunately, they look dumb to you, but you're more informed than the typical person watching and saying, wow, Cliff looks like he knows what he's doing.
When they want to get respect from outside of Fall River, it goes deeper than that.
I agree with that all day.
Come on, man.
I agree with that all day.
Know at least what you're talking about. This is data that can be backed up that anybody
And again, and I want to reemphasize this, man. When you're looking at data, are you looking at data for accuracy? Are you looking at data for the purpose of getting the right information out there? Are you looking at data just to try to strengthen what you want to argue? Because it's two different things.
Well, that's why I got back online, was because I read a Herald News article that was giving out the data, but they weren't telling you what was included in the numbers. So I got very frustrated, because it's like, you can't say that residents are accumulating that much trash when they're not. It's proven. You cannot do that. You can't even tell me what residents are throwing out. So if you can't tell me that, then how the hell can you say that residents are responsible for the cost? Right. You can't. That's crazy to do it like that.
I was having, the discussion I was having earlier today when we were doing a cleanup, painting over graffiti, was saying that, I challenged, I like the bags, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, what are they paying for?
Right.
They're paying for our trash. No, they're not.
Nope.
No.
For so much more than that.
Right. We need to know how much it costs.
Or are they?
We need to know how much it costs before we can say it pays for anything.
Right.
That's it.
Who else is getting paid?
Look at all this money.
Where is our yard waste going, and who's getting paid for it?
Look at all this money. Look at all this money that we keep on getting from the state and from this, that, and the other.
And it's not helping anything.
And
all these educational things. You get any educational pamphlets?
I get more education every Saturday at noon on City Talk Fall River than I do anywhere else. True story?
That's a true story.
All right, man. Well, we can, me and you, we have time.
Uh-oh, they're going sports round.
We have time.
They're going sports.
What do you want to talk about?
Do you or do you want LeBron James on your Boston Celtics basketball team?
Oh, God, if that happens.
And everyone who's listening, we're no longer going to be talking about city topics, sanitation, this, that, and the other. Although I think we will talk about Froed next week.
I think I think that as a player, he's a very gifted player, though, but I don't think he would mesh very well in this team.
We're going to give it the proper... We're going to give it the proper... We're going to give Froed the proper goodbye that it...
Yeah, it's B Bristol County something other B whatever. I think he's a very good player. I just don't think he's a good player on this team. So I would say I would not want him.
Where would you rank LeBron James top all-time NBA player?
All time, guaranteed top 5. Would not say he's number 1.
Give me your top 5. No, don't say Tupac and Biggie. I want your basketball top 5.
Basketball top 5. Well,
I'll give you a hint. Sometimes I dream.
Sure.
Okay.
Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Let's see. Larry Bird's in the top 5 for me.
Ooh, nice. Good.
I put LeBron James in my top 5.
3.
I put Kobe in my top 5.
Cobes.
I put Kobe in there.
Definitely not put Kobe in my top 5.
I would put Kobe in my top 5. And just for the I'm being a joke. I'm joking about this, but Kevin McDonald. No.
Oh
no, I would not. No.
If he's in your top 5, he's the first finger. Yeah, he's the index finger.
Number 5 in my top 5, I would probably have to say. Ooh. You know what? I gotta go old school because he helps.
I'm surprised you haven't gone old school. I'm like, he's all in this new school stuff.
I gotta go Bill Russell, dude.
Of course.
You gotta go Bill Russell.
How do you not put Bill? You gotta put Bill. All right. So Bill Russell.
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Michael Jordan. Larry Bird. Magic Johnson. Top 5 all time. That's my 5.
You must have really loved those commercials, the McDonald's commercials back in the day.
Oh, the Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan and Larry Bird ones? Yeah, those were good, man.
I don't remember Barkley getting
Barkley was in there. Barkley was in there.
Yeah, he did it because it's McDonald's, man.
No, Barkley was kind of like...
Well, those are the ones that went later on because
he never won a championship, so it was kind of like a joke. He wasn't getting it.
Because at first it was just Larry Bird and Michael Jordan.
There's no question on planet Earth that Larry Bird would win in a shootout against Michael Jordan. Still to this day.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
We can make it happen.
I just love it.
I know.
Larry would crush Michael in a 3-point shooting contest.
Actually made fun of Jeff Caron and Chris Herron.
Caron was a beast.
He absolutely was. We had, during my senior follies, Jeff Caron and Chris Herron, probably one of the greatest, most hilarious skits, did the Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, nothing but net. And they were like in the audience. And like on top of.
Were they hitting him too?
And then, well, they weren't really throwing it because there was no basket to throw it into.
You got to use your imagination. I guess so.
But they ended up, just because Class of 94, anybody who's listening from Class of 94 would remember this, they used to play against Taunton a lot, Silver City. Mm-hmm. So one of them had said they're going to hit like this on top of the Silver City school bus. And then everybody went wild. So it was just like one of those
moments.
That's awesome. A high school moment that
that's loved. Cool. That's cool. Chris Herron, he's in Seacock too.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he set up something out there in Seacock.
Good for him.
Yeah. So as far as LeBron goes, LeBron James is in the bottom part of my top 10, and Kobe is in my top 15. But I have a lot of guys that I think that if we were building a basketball team and I wanted to win a championship and be consistent on a team level, people like Akeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, they get overlooked.
Oh yeah, Tim Duncan definitely up there too.
They get overlooked, but because the flashiness and this, that, and the other of such and such players. But LeBron James is clearly, in my opinion, the greatest athlete to play basketball in the NBA. He's an athletic phenomenon, and he's a very, very obviously great all-around basketball player. But he doesn't have the clutch gene in him. He always shies away when he's starting to lose. He starts to fall back. I've seen it so many times, not just this year.
Maybe he just needs a trot pep talk.
but Michael Jordan, if he's down by 20 points in the fourth quarter, guess what's going to happen?
That team goes on his back.
Yes, and he just will not go down, and that to me is the difference maker. Magic was like that. Bird was like that. They're killers when the time comes when they need to throw down. Yes, absolutely.
Basically, it goes to the line. Champions always.
If
want the ball.
LeBron is down by 20 points in the fourth quarter, he might as well just sit down. He might as well just sit down.
Who the hell wants to watch a game where the team is going to give up?
Right.
Three quarters of the way through. Why are you playing?
But that's kind of what happened in Game 4. Like they were down 15 with like 3 or 4 minutes.
And he's on the bench whining.
And no, and he wasn't on the bench whining. He literally was off the field and he was congratulating the other team for winning.
Yeah.
With 3 or 4 minutes left, he was congratulating.
See, I don't like that.
Mike wouldn't do that.
To me, I'm like, that's bad juju. You don't do that.
Larry wouldn't do that.
You know what irks me off? Like if I'm watching like the Super Bowls, I didn't mean to say it that way. I meant to say
whatever. Go ahead.
Me. But at any rate, is like when you get in at the end of a football game, especially the Super Bowl, when there's 2 minutes in and everybody's like, "Oh, Patriots are gonna lose." I'm like, fake fan.
That's exactly right.
Fake fan, don't do that. You never give up till the game is over. You never know what's gonna happen.
I've done it as a fan. I've done it, and you know what I do? I walk away from the TV. I'm like, I can't watch this crap, and then I come back and I'm like, yes. But like, I can't. I don't like seeing my team get beat down. So I'll just walk away from it.
Oh, see, now
I'll just walk away from it.
I'm like, you better win.
But it's not like I'm saying we're going to lose or anything like that. I don't like watching them lose. That's just the difference in it, you know? But I'm not going to turn my back on them and say, oh, screw this team, blah, 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 like all that kind of crap. That's just ridiculous. What I do love, though, like about LeBron James is that he is a very gifted basketball player. He's easily far and away the most gifted basketball player on the court, usually whenever he's playing. He likes to give the ball up and try to get other teammates involved. Like, that to me is a good thing because he does have the ability to just go in but when they need him to do that, he needs to do that. He doesn't always do that. No. And that's what really sucks about it. So that's why my top 5 is still my top 5, because you're looking at guys that just don't know how to lose. LeBron knows how to lose.
So he's basically telling you his top 5 is better than your top 5.
Oh, no, it's not like that. I already knew it was before he even told it to me. I'm playing, kind of. But I will say that, like, I will take LeBron James on this basketball team as long as we still are able to keep someone like a Kyrie Irving or a Jason Tatum, because Jason Tatum has that in him. Kyrie definitely has that in him. Well, that's why Kyrie was so good in Cleveland, because LeBron could step back and allow Kyrie the last 3-4 minutes of the game to take the big shots. That's how they won the championship against Golden State.
So is there a chance we're going to get LeBron? Is this the talk?
It's been thrown out there. I think there's 3 teams that LeBron James will go to, maybe a 4th team. The main ones are Houston and Philadelphia, because they have the means to make it happen as far as money goes, and they do have the roster, I think, that could support LeBron. I think Houston supports LeBron a lot better than Philly does, but Philly has the money, big time, and they could probably get a couple more pieces to fit with LeBron. But I will say Houston has the MVP of the league, James Harden. He's got basically two point guards on the roster, so LeBron doesn't even have to be the point guard anymore. He can just be like the scorer on that team and just probably crush everybody. So I think that would be the best spot. Plus, there's a spot for him on that roster because they need a small forward on that team. So it would just work out great for him, you know? But Boston would be the best team for him to go to because we have the best coaching out of all of that. We have someone that he's played with before. If they can put their differences aside and focus on a championship, now you have the best of all worlds. You have Brad Stevens, you have a bunch of young guys that know how to play, and you have the best two-man combination in the league besides Curry and Durant. You know, so that's already proven to win a championship. So
LeBron's in Boston, you're going nuts, huh?
I would definitely love to see that. I mean, how do you not? How do you not?
I know someone that would absolutely hate it.
Everyone would. Josh, everybody.
Oh, Josh would. Yeah, Josh would like go.
Everyone would hate it until they start winning, and it's like, you know what? It's not that bad because we're about championships in Boston, not hating on other players. That's sissy stuff. I was nice on that one. But that's just sissy stuff. Like, oh no, I don't like him. No, like if he comes to the team, wears the jersey and wins in that jersey, everyone's going to get around that. There ain't no doubt about it. Especially if we're beating Golden State in the finals, the cocky team that they are. Anyway, guys, we're over our time. Thank you for listening. I think next week we'll talk a little bit about the demise of Fred. go with that for a little bit. We'll talk about like just the whole list all together, just all the different things that are coming.
Want to talk about the changes we've seen?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I mean, if people are making arguments about how bad it is, and
yeah, talk a little bit about that. And there's still more to go with council meetings, right? So got plenty more material to come up with, I'm sure. There. Oh, yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This was a very, very good one. I liked the Nikki time on this one. It was good. Everyone, take care. Bye.